Hello everyone! I've just jumped on here to talk to you about my 40-day sugar cut that I completed yesterday. During this process, I got asked lots of questions from people who knew that I was doing it, lots of people my Instagram knew, decided to put it all into one video and to tell you about my experience. So let's just clarify what I mean by sugars. I'm talking about the refined sugars. So your biscuits, your cakes, your sweets. I still allow myself to eat fruit and natural sugars. My challenge originally was just 31 days. So how did this all start? I've always had a really sweet tooth and sugar's always been my favourite go-to thing. Lots of you who know me will know that quite often through the day I could just keep going on sweets all day long and maybe not even have a proper meal, which is terrible. And in September it came to a head. There was one particular day where I ate so much cheesecake that I thought I was going to be sick. I went into full-blown sugar coma. I had to drink loads of water, just wanted to pass out. And the next morning, I still wanted more cheesecake. So at that point, I realised that I should really change something. So it just felt rubbish. And it was actually my dance partner who said to me, "Oh, you won't be able to do it." And so I said, "Watch me." And that's what I did. So why 40 days? Originally, I was going to do 31 days. And then I read somewhere about in Kundalini yoga where they say 40 days of practice begins to change a habit. I felt like, well, let's have a go for 40 days and see if I can change this habit. The first question that everybody wanted to know was, why are you doing this? As I've explained, that was kind of my main reason. It wasn't to lose weight. That was the second question I got asked. The answer to that question is I didn't lose weight. Out of curiosity, I wanted to see what would happen and I wanted to prove to myself that I didn't need sugar. Week 1, oh my gosh, week 1 was one of the most horrific weeks ever. I binged as much sugar as I could on that last day of September, and then on the 1st of October it was cold turkey, and that was tough. The side effects really surprised me, really shocked me. I was so tired. I needed a nap. By 3 o'clock, my body was screaming out, "Rosie, you need sugar, you need a sugar, you need sugar, you need something to pick you up." Those first couple of days were awful. I had to rely on a lot of hot drinks, just hot water, just to kind of fill me up. Day 5, I had the most horrific headache. Throbbing head from the moment I woke up to when I went to bed at night. I felt really, really lethargic, terrible in myself, really moody. After some research, I realised that that was a side effect from the withdrawal from sugar. That first week was really tough, but I did push through. I persevered, and hot drinks were my friend. In week 2 and 3, I started learning a lot more about refined sugar because I realised that I did this challenge completely blind. I didn't know anything. Biggest shock for me during this was how much refined sugar is out there that we do not know about. Week 2, I read an article that explained that refined sugar is more addictive than crack cocaine. Now, I can't tell you that from first experience, but I do know that sugars are super addictive. They're also really not nourishing for the body. There's no nutrients, no minerals. There's nothing in refined sugar that's actually any benefit for us apart from that it tastes great. What I found most scary is how much sugar is in foods that we don't even know. Cereals are the worst, and my bran flakes that I thought were healthy really aren't. Shredded wheat was the only cereal that I could really actually eat. Baked beans, bread, pastas, a Big Mac, so many sauces, butter. Yogurts are crazy. There is a lot of sugar in yogurts. Those healthy bars you see, they are packed full of sugar. All of my favourite foods basically are full of sugar. By week 3, I started to notice a difference. Fruits were tasting a lot sweeter, berries were like full of flavour. Normally I was always having semi-skimmed milk. Suddenly that would taste really sweet and I switched to skimmed. I realised that I wasn't having the cravings anymore. I wasn't having to make as many hot drinks. If somebody was eating sugar next to me, it wasn't bothering me anywhere near as much as it did week 1. Lots of people also asked me if I felt any better for it, and I can say that weeks 2 and 3 I felt so much better. I realised that the mood swings of me as an emotional character, they weren't quite so strong. I felt calmer in myself and I wasn't kind of up and down, and maybe that was just because I was having a good week. With enough research that I've done, I do think that there is a little bit of a link between refined sugars and mood swings. Now, can I be honest and say hand on heart that I didn't touch any food that had any refined sugar? No. I did eat bread. I did eat baked beans. I did eat some tomato soup. So actually maybe I cheated. I wasn't prepared. I hadn't done the research and I didn't even realise that those things had sugars. I was concentrated on the cakes, biscuits, sweets and those kind of obvious things. The hidden sugars are the danger. So week 4 and 5, here's where it all went downhill. Now I stuck to this and I'm really proud of myself for doing so, but during week 4 we were announced that we were going into a lockdown. I am an emotional character and an emotional eater. I wanted nothing more than to reach out for a chocolate bar, reach out for some sweets and just stuff my face at that time. I just wanted it for comfort. I was super stressed, super anxious. That is when I started to eat a lot more carbs and a lot more foods that I wouldn't have eaten previously. I loaded up with those carbs. I was bloated and feeling worse actually. I put on a little bit of weight. So I guess that fast sugar, just quick fix, was kind of how I've trained my body to be. I wouldn't really let that put people off because I do think that that was just my personal experience. My moods can be a little bit like this, and the more I read, the more I realised that wow, sugar is terrible for that. You get these sugar highs and lows and ups and downs and crashes. When you do something like this, you really realise how much it affects you. And I noticed that the most in the last 2 days when I started eating sugar again. Obviously day 1, super excited, ran downstairs, ate 3 bourbon biscuits. The first taste of that bourbon biscuit was a shock. It was so sweet. I also had a fruit yogurt yesterday, which should be very healthy. It was like eating a bag of sweets. So for sure my tastes have changed and I really can taste how sweet things are. But I was pushing through because I could eat sugar. So then I had Christmas cake, flapjacks, a chocolate bar. Wow, did I crash. I felt sick, I felt lightheaded, a bit headachy, and I felt moody. There was a high and a low, and it was really strange because I could actually feel it, almost like when you drink alcohol, you could feel the sugar working its magic, and I could also feel the sugar crash that came afterwards. That being said, refined sugar is delicious. Would I do this again? Absolutely. I'd like to challenge myself to do a week without any refined sugars. So really actually reading those labels and maybe changing some of the other things that I'm eating. That could be really difficult. I learned so much doing this and I'm really proud that I did it. I wouldn't necessarily say that we all need to do a 40-day sugar cut, but I definitely would recommend you to look up and learn about refined sugars. So much that I didn't know. I didn't know what was being put into our foods. I was really shocked at what I saw, what I read, what people told me. Sugar is so heavily linked to obesity, diabetes, heart problems. It's linked to certain types of cancer. My mum always says sugar is the enemy. And I guess in these 40 days, I learned that it tastes amazing, but it's really not doing anything for us. When faced with sugar in these last 2 days, I definitely don't feel the same about it as I did. However, if I continue to stuff my face full of sugar, I know that it won't be long before I'm addicted again. That's kind of why I did it. That's what's happened. I will be eating a load of chocolate tonight and tomorrow and the next day because I feel like I deserve it.